Welcome to Reaction. I'm Maggie Pagano, Executive Editor of Reaction, and with me today, a momentous day, is Tim Montgomerie, my colleague. And Tim, I think we're all still reeling from the extraordinary announcement from the Prime Minister yesterday. Who would have guessed that this was a Conservative Prime Minister? And just to prove the point, you've seen the Daily Telegraph headlines, yeah? Highest tax take since the war. But not just that, and I think this is the really important bit, the tax rate on dividends punishes, the wealth creators, the risk takers. So were you as surprised as the rest of us by what was announced?
Well, I was. Of course, it's been trailed, Maggie, for a few days now. And so I think we could have kind of expected it. But it is still amazing to hear, a Conservative Prime Minister get up in Parliament, break an election manifesto promise without any real sense of regret or apology. And it's also, I think it's interesting just watching how the opposition have reacted as well. Guido Fawkes, the blog site, has remarked that, there's been no senior Labour politicians on the news, on the Today programme or whatever, over the last couple of days. And I think they're sort of wrong-footed about it as well. They're looking across the aisle and they're seeing this Tory government raising taxes and spending money as if there's no tomorrow. And I'm not quite sure they know how to respond to it. And I think we can talk about the individual issue, and perhaps we should. But I'm in London today, hence a slightly unusual environment. I'm sorry, the lighting isn't perfect here, but I was at dinner last night with 20 or so Conservative MPs, and they're stunned by it. I don't think there'll be a problem in the vote today. I certainly have said to people, what's the point? There's just support it. It's going to pass. Don't get yourself a reputation. But there's sort of a sense of the Conservative Party has lost its moorings. There's a bigger thing. Yes, this is an individual act that brings it home, but what does the Conservative Party stand for anymore? What's its fundamental beliefs? And I think because of Brexit, because of a lot of voters' support for Brexit, for a lot of Tory MPs got their seats because of Brexit, Boris Johnson has been given a benefit of the doubt that few other Conservative leaders would have got. But it's allowing him to take the country and the party into really unexplored territory. I'm doing Talking Pints with Nigel Farage on GB News tonight. And so I should really be having a pint with you now, Maggie, in preparation.
I'll pretend to be Farage for a moment.
Exactly.
So, Tim, how can you be a member of this party any longer?
Exactly.
Might be his first question.
But in a way, his absence, now he's doing this TV program rather than being leader of UKIP or whatever, there is nothing to the right of the Conservative Party. There's no consequences for the Conservative Party vacating that traditional sort of Conservative Thatcherite territory at the moment. And I think maybe until there is some sort of political consequence for that, we'll continue to get this leftwards, big government, centre, drift of the current leadership.
Socialist, you might say.
You might say that.
Yeah. Two questions, Tim, from what you just said. I'm very surprised that you would say to those Tory MPs who are stunned and don't like it or have objections to it that they shouldn't rebel. Very surprised, because you just said there isn't anything to the right of the party, but surely the Conservative Party has always been a broad spectrum, and you've always got Thatcherites on one side, indeed our health secretary supposedly, and others within it. So it should be a place for debate. Now, secondly, surely Boris's Brexit dividend has sort of, he's had that now, really. The honeymoon is over. And particularly post-COVID, we should be into an era of proper parliamentary debate about ideas. Now, let's assume we should raise taxes. My objection, actually, and I think objection to a lot of people in business, is that this was the wrong way to do it. There are better ways. many better ways. But most of the focus has been on national insurance, a tax on jobs, which it is, and it will be carried by the lower paid. We know that too. But the dividend tax on the 6 million small businesses, contractors, freelancers, company directors. I mean, it doesn't sound much, does it? 1.25, but it is eating away. And I mean, dividends are already taxed, or certainly on the stock market, listed companies are already taxed about 3 times anyway. So you may as well say, people just say, well, I'm going to stop working, I'll just go on benefits. I mean, human nature is such that they won't stop working, but why would you dull people? Yeah. I just don't understand. Do they not understand basic economics? That this is where the wealth will come from to pay future taxes. It's quite a simple formula.
Yeah, well, I think the lesson for this, there's rumours, Maggie, of a reshuffle in government tomorrow. I don't know whether it will happen, but I think one of the lessons is that we need Maggie Pagano as Chancellor of the Exchequer. I think definitely would improve the Conservative character of the government. But I honestly do not have a good explanation for why they have done this. And I love Sajid Javid. He's a good friend of mine, and lots of people I have huge respect for are in government, and I just don't understand why he has done this and why he's bought into it. It's not Conservative for me in any way. There's no talk of personal responsibility. There's no talk of the kind of business incentive structures that you've just mentioned. There's no talk of the family. We're talking about an issue like long-term care, and we're not even talking about whether we're supporting the family in any significant way. So I think what has happened inside, this is the best explanation I can offer, is that I think Boris Johnson has been very concerned that there is this growing reputation that he has. He doesn't take tough decisions, that he leaves decisions to sort of fester. And I think maybe there was just this sense in Number 10 that they needed to look like they were taking some bold action in a key area of government policy. And of course, older voters, property owners worried about passing on their house to their kids. That's a big constituency for the Conservative Party. I think they may have chosen this issue for that reason. But it comes after a period when lots of people are very unhappy in the Conservative Party about the whole Afghanistan debacle. There's a sense that just the government doesn't really have much of a sense of direction. And so I'm afraid this is just the latest warning sign, really, for Conservative MPs that something isn't right in the party.
I mean, and the big elephant in the room that we haven't addressed, Tim, is will this extra money, 36 billion over 3 years, most of it, as we know, will go into the NHS, whether they will put a portion aside for social care. But I think that and certainly if it's going to be hypothecated into this sort of, fund, we should see a full audit. I think they need to show where it's being spent and how. And you hit on a very good point. What about families who do want to care for their elderly at home? Why weren't there incentives to do that? Why haven't they looked at some sort of social insurance policy that people can take out? I mean, I'm not sure this is going to address the issue at all. And that's my biggest worry.
Yeah, no, mine too.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, you're off. Yes. Well, good luck with Nigel Farage tonight.
Thank you very much. I'll ask him whether he's going to set up a political party, and perhaps you and I can join it, Maggie.
Absolutely. Okay. Have a good day, Tim. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.